what have you learned about Brook and kind of what he can do on that end?
Yeah, I hate Brook. I'm not, no, I'm joking. Brook just fucked it. It didn't surprise me. I've known how PJ has felt since, we did the USA stuff a couple years ago. I just didn't think he'd air it out like that. They asked the question as soon as you walk in, Brook, this is not awkward at all. I'll talk about you in your face. Brook Lopez is my favorite teammate because Brook actually talks and he communicates and he understands the game and he knows how to play and he's smart and he sees things before they happen, and even when we mess up sometimes we fix it right away. He was talking about what's important for this team, and that is talking, it's communicating, and he does that so well in every situation. He's always speaking his mind, trying to help the team just be better in any way possible.
So after you've been able to kind of look back at the first two games, you specifically kind of coming in, I guess, for Giannis, that seems to be the sub, dealing with Jimmy. How have you just kind of looked at the way you've played these first couple of games and obviously getting more involved offensively in game two then?
I don't know, just solid. Just trying to stay solid. That's it, man. For the time that I'm in there, just being as solid as possible. Be able to help on the boards, be able to keep guys out of the paint, make them take tough contested shots, and just battling. That's what it's going to come down to, is battling.
It's interesting when we've talked to you, coming in when you did, and then there was the time off with the injury. You talked about, okay, it's going to take maybe a little time for communication to settle and kind of chemistry. I mean, I know it's just two games in a long road, but how do you feel that has gone when Bud has asked you guys to switch things up with different schemes or coverages? Has it gone smoother than you think in these two games, or have you found some things that maybe can be tightened up a little bit?
It's been okay. It's gotten better from game one to game two. Got to make it better from game two to game three to be able to win that one. It's something that's going to be ongoing. I feel like we learned from a lot of mistakes we had first game and corrected that in second game. And like I said, we're going to have to do that again to be able to win game three.
You guys had led the league in scoring, made a lot of threes, I know, throughout the year, and in game two. I know it all starts defensively for you guys, but what does that kind of feel like when you're just filling it up like that? Whether it's 40 points in a quarter, which you guys have done a bunch of times, or 130 in a game. I mean, is that almost as tough to beat as even having that sort of really good lockdown defensive game when you guys are just on it like that offensively?
Yeah, I think in those moments when you actually making shots, that's when you got to keep reminding, like in timeouts, we just remind each other the offense is rolling because we're getting stops. The offense is going well because we're playing defense. We're talking, we're communicating on D, and now we're getting out on the offensive end. It's the translation between that. So I think that's the main thing. You're going to have a lot of games where you make shots like that. You're going to have a lot of games where you can't make shots like game one. But you still got to figure out a way to win. So staying humble in those times of makes.
Thank you.
Eric, name?
When the Bucks traded for you, I think there was like some people that thought like, hey, PJ will be the thing that can unlock the Bucks switching, and that maybe Brook's role won't be as big. And I think Brook's kind of shown like just how important he can be defensively. I know you don't always get to play with him because sometimes you guys do kind of do that switch, but just what have you learned about Brook and kind of what he can do on that end? Because it feels like, he's that communicator, that guy that does all the little stuff. He seems like a bigger version of you.
Yeah, I hate Brook. I'm not even. No, I'm joking. Brook just fucked it. They asked the question as soon as you walk in, Brook, this is not awkward at all. I'll talk about you in your face. Brook Lopez is my favorite teammate because Brook actually talks and he communicates and he understands the game and he knows how to play and he's smart and he sees things before they happen. And even when we mess up sometimes, we fix it right away. He's good at communicating that, and that's huge to be able to have that kind of have those type of vests on our team. Just guys with experience that know how to play. Yeah.
Before the series, you talked about how you guys need to be physical. Drew mentioned at the end of the first game, so game 1 overtime, he gets that layup where he gets out on the long rebound. And he was like, I only got it because Dante hit Bam. Like, if he doesn't hit Bam, like, I'm not getting that rebound. What have you thought of some of the guards and wings and their ability to kind of be in there, get physical, get hits, and tag guys?
Yeah, we've been on them because all season since they've just front end and stolen rebounds from us from after we've been fighting all game. But now this series, they're actually getting in there and mixing it up, and it's great because they all have the ability to do it. Even Brent last game was down there fighting bigs. When our guards do that, it makes our defense a whole lot tougher. You don't give as many second chance points up, and we can get out on the break. So it's been really good, and we're gonna have to continue to do that because in Miami, they're gonna be crashing the glass hard. They're gonna be, trying to get more physical. So we gotta meet that.
You've been in a bunch of playoff series. You've been up in playoff series. You've been down in playoff series. What do you think the key is when you do have a lead in this series to kind of close it out?
Being humble, staying focused, never get too high, never get too low, even kill, go out, same focus that you had in each game before. Learn from your mistakes, but stay humble in victory.
Steve McGargy.
You had said before the series, talk about how this series essentially would come down to who does the dirty work, who's scrappier and stuff like that. Obviously, you have the 2-0 lead and a big rebounding edge so far, but just in general from the tape, how do you think y'all have done in terms of just doing the little things so far?
I feel like we've been pretty good. It's always room for improvement. Watch film today for an hour. There's still, clips in there, even after a game like that. There's still a ton of clips of, times where we didn't hit, times where we didn't do little things that we should have done. The percentage-wise is high, yeah, but, there's always room.
And also with the change in protocols, you're essentially going to be playing in front of a full arena Thursday. As far as I know, I think will be the first time this season. Just what kind of atmosphere are you expecting down in Miami with playing in front of a potentially full house?
I'm expecting just that. I'm expecting our fans to come out, support, and try to help them get back in it. But it'll be exciting for us too because we haven't played in front of a full house either. So there's nothing like going on the road playing against 20,000 people going against you. There's no better feeling than coming out with victory on that. So it'll help us too.
Last one is Zora Stevenson.
Hey, PJ, how do you think the communication has been so far in this series among you all? I know that was just a factor coming in, so just wondering how it is up to this point.
Are you in your car?
I am, yes. So can you hear me is the question.
So dope, yeah.
I'm parked.
The communication's been good. I said this before, we got a lot of guys that don't really talk a lot, but a lot of times I always talk about like their emotion in the situations, right? I can tell if Drew's not gonna switch if he's into a guy. It's learning each other non-verbally as well, and that's something that's gotten a lot better, and guys are starting to figure out. Verbally, we've been talking, we've been getting better at that each and every game. I feel like since I've been here, so continue to get better.
And you talked about film. Have you noticed anyone, maybe yourself, speaking up in film in addition to Coach Bud and the assistants?
Not really. Nobody said nothing. Really. Just let Coach do his thing, and everybody just learn from it and try to get better.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you, PJ. All right. Questions for Brook? Eric, name?
I mean, how do you react to PJ hating you? That seems pretty rough.
It didn't surprise me. I've known how PJ's felt since, we did the USA stuff a couple years ago. I just didn't think he'd air it out like that, straight up at a very important time during the season. It's the wrong time to pick that, but what can you expect from a guy like that?
With PJ, just kind of what do you think he's brought to you guys off the bench? Obviously, you guys knew going in defensively was going to be what you guys needed to do, and it just feels like he's kind of giving you guys that lift off the bench.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been everything we expected and more, and I think talking, it's kind of, he was talking about what's important for this team, and that is talking, it's communicating, and he does that so well in every situation. On the court, he does it in timeouts when he sees something that needs to be changed or fixed or we need to be better at, whatever it is. He's always speaking his mind, trying to help the team just be better in any way possible.
What have you thought of I think you heard me asking this question too, but what did you think of kind of like the guards and the wings really helping out defensively? It feels like every time Bam tries to grab a rebound, he's in a crowd, and it's not just 2, it's 3 or 4, it's everyone.
Yeah, they've been great about that, and they're just gonna have to keep being even better. We definitely had times in film today where coach was showing, I would go to contest, Bobby would go to contest, Giannis would go, whatever, the big would go to contest. We'd have 1 or 2 guards, Dante and Drew, Chris and Drew, whatever it was, cracking down on Bam, making it so he couldn't just cleanly crash the offensive glass. And that's always just a huge part of what they do. We need to keep doing that.
Zora Stevenson.
Brook, PJ was talking about the fact that he feeds off a crowd rooting against him. I'm wondering, is your mindset the same thing? How do you feel about just 17,000 people is what it's going to be in Miami, just rooting against you?
I'm excited. I think everyone's honestly excited. It's going to be so much fun. This is what basketball is all about. It's what competing professional sports is all about. And so I think everyone's here for it. We're all ready for it. I can't wait.
And obviously you're up 2-0 at this point. How do you keep a level head and realize obviously the job is not done and there's a great opportunity going to Miami to get it done?
I mean, it's not hard. That's the kind of team we are. We never get too high or too low. We just gotta keep going out each and every day, getting better, regardless of what we do. Just keep getting better.
Tim Bontemps.
Hey, Brook. Good to see you, man.
I'm good seeing you too.
I was just curious. Obviously, you've been in Milwaukee now a couple of years. You guys have had a couple of deep playoff runs. What do you think is different beyond the obvious that you have your new best friend PJ and Drew Holiday now on the team? But beyond like obvious additions or changes like that, what do you think is different about this year's team compared to from the last couple of years?
Yeah, I think we're just having played together for these 3 years now. And having that continuity kind of, and then really working on being able to beat teams in a lot of different ways. One thing Coach Bud talked a lot about all the way from this preseason was just, we've been great at having that first punch, that one move to go to. And this season was really about being great at being able to make those adjustments. And when we make changes, still being just as great, if not even better. And I think we just have a lot of different ways we can beat teams now. We're very deep. We can beat teams by going small, beat teams by being big, just a lot of different options, playing inside, playing outside.
Well, and one thing I've noticed is you, and especially the past couple of months, you've sort of reverted back to Brooklyn Brook in terms of your shot profile. You're obviously getting back close to the rim a lot more, even though you're still shooting threes. What kind of led to that change, and how effective do you think that has been for you guys to have you kind of back also serving as sort of a low post threat for you guys to get some easy buckets inside?
Yeah, I think it's great. And obviously well, I guess I should first say, obviously we want to be who we are regardless of who we're playing when it comes down to our core identity. But then obviously we have ways we can beat teams. We can, like I said, we can be the team that spreads the floor, shoots threes, but we've been really great in this past month and a half, 2 months, whatever you said, just being big and pounding teams on the offensive glass, getting in the paint, killing them that way. And it still leads to a lot of great threes, open 3 looks.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Tim.
Stephen Watson.
Hey, Brook, the way that you guys have played defensively over the last 2 games, there are some stretches of just, swarming the Heat. Where do you feel like this team is at defensively, and is that really the key to a deep run in the postseason for this group?
Yeah, it absolutely is. We're just – that's where we take pride. That's where we try to hang our hat, and we got to continue to get better each and every game defensively. I think a lot of that is attributed just to knowing that whoever's on ball, you see Drew and Dante picking up full court. It's a good example of just knowing that you have your whole team behind you to help if something happens. They're going all out right from when the guy gets it, 94 feet. guarding the guard, and they know that they have their help behind them. And I think that's what everyone knows. Everyone knows if they're guarding Jimmy Butler in the post, if you're guarding Bam at top, chasing Duncan Robinson off a pick, you know that you got help behind you. And I think that gives people a lot of freedom to go out there and just be as aggressive as possible, really get into guys, pressure people, and make things tough for everyone.
Steve McGarkey.
I was just wondering, you talked about kind of guarding against complacency up to making sure there's still plenty of work to be done. But when you're facing the team that knocked you out last year, how much easier is that to kind of avoid any resting on your laurels than maybe if you were playing a different team?
Yeah, we obviously know what this team's capable of, and it's ingrained in their DNA. You know, they're going to come out and play hard if they're up 40 or down 40. Whatever it is, you know, they're still going to come play hard. They're going to come play even harder tomorrow. They're going to be more physical. They're going to play harder. And so we have to be prepared to match and exceed that. So we know what they're going to do. We know what kind of team they are. So we're definitely aware of what we have to do.
Marcus Johnson.
Hey, Brook. I've watched you in pregame warmups last year. Obviously, not a lot this year, but Ben Sullivan used to like kick balls to you as opposed to passing. He would kick balls. You catch him at these weird angles. Somebody asked me, why does he do that? I'm like, well, he's getting used to shooting at different angles and catching and shooting, awkward shots. It seems like you're doing more of that, especially recently, but this entire season. Is that something, just the closer to the basket, half turns and fade away one legs? Is that something that you've done more of this year than ever before? You just talk about that a little bit in terms of expanding your unconventional shot profile.
Yeah, it's definitely something that Ben has continued to do this year, and even more. We start with our little floaters, touch shots around the rim, but he's always throwing me the ball, kicking me the ball, like you saw, at all sorts of different angles and from different ways, just because you never know, obviously, in game, where the ball is going to come from, what speed it's going to come from. So you just have to be ready. You always have your hands up to work on catching the ball and just getting it right to the basket, or getting in the shooting pocket, whatever it is. And so it's great to just have someone whose thought process is there. It's obviously translated to the game very well.
Thank you.
All right, one more to Anthony Chang with Miami Herald.
Hey, Brook. Obviously, you guys have had some success defending Bam and Jimmy in the first two games. I guess entering the series, what were the points of emphasis with those two guys, and what do you think has worked so far and helping to keep them uncomfortable early on in the series?
Yeah, we knew we had to come out and be aggressive. They're two great players, two all-stars, and they're the leaders of the Heat. And so we knew we had to come out and try to meet their energy and aggression. That's kind of the ways they get into the game. They lift their teammates to new levels just because of the way they come out and play. They're great leaders and teammates as well. And so they're a huge part of what Miami does. And so we knew first and foremost we had to come out and just try to be as aggressive as them and have that energy and the same mentality they do each and every night. And then again, it's not just one person, a big guarding Bam or Giannis or Chris guarding Jimmy. It's all five on the defensive end, a team doing that job.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Brook. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
I was curious what you kind of thought about your guys' ability to handle double teams on post-ups. I know Bobby had a great one, kind of where he stepped through and was able to make a nice pass. I know there's another couple times where there might have been turnovers out of it. That's kind of a new wrinkle that you guys saw. I'm just curious what you thought of your guys' ability to kind of work through that now that you've seen the film.
Yeah, a little bit of both, like you kind of mentioned in the question. We've got to be strong with the ball. We've got to play with the pass against the crowd, play with the pass against their activity. And it's everybody, Bobby, Drew, Chris, Giannis, Brook. But we got to be aggressive, getting to the paint and scoring too. So, there's areas where we can improve.
Giannis has obviously seen Jimmy throughout this series. That was something you guys didn't do a lot of last year. Just what have you thought of his ability to navigate a lot of DHOs and pick and rolls and kind of everything that encompasses defending Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, no, there's a lot that gets thrown at, whoever gets that matchup. We've been able to change the matchup a little bit, but Giannis has had him, significant, amount of time. And, I think he's locked in. He knows the challenge. It takes some discipline, takes toughness. He can't be lacking in any of those areas.
And then I would ask something similar about Brook. Obviously, Brook is always a big part of what you guys are going to do defending the rim. Just what have you thought of his ability to affect shots and really make it tough on guys?
Yeah, no, he's got a great, natural feel, natural instinct for protecting the paint, protecting his teammates, being there for anybody that needs them. I think his individual defense, his contest, it's just he's got to continue to, to do a little bit of everything for us.
Jim Wazarski.
Mike, I know after game one, we asked you a little bit about the starters playing as much as they did. Game two, obviously, your second unit had some good minutes. But I guess in general, I know you've had 10 guys basically for the most part all year. But in these two games, how have you felt your second unit of those four especially have responded, I guess, to whether it be shortened minutes or maybe PJ, it seems clearly came in for Giannis and then kind of took that same defensive responsibility. How have you seen them just sort of react to that? Because it is a little different from, the previous games they had played in the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, I think the bench, all of them are a little bit unique. All of them bring something, that's important to us. And I think they understand, that they can do lots of things that impact winning, and they're just locked in and focused on that. And each of them, I think got to continue to, I guess, focus on, kind of how it is that they impact winning and, whatever minutes that the starters play, the reserves, everybody's just got to be at their best in those minutes.
This is probably the last time, and hopefully, thankfully, we can ask you about this stuff in terms of crowds and fans, because it feels like things are getting more normalized. Miami's going to have 17,000. For all of your careers, you're used to the noise, right? I mean, it's been full stadiums. However, I am curious, has there been a little bit of a adjustment or an early game kind of extra bit of juice when you had 9,000 at Fiserv, and now you're going to essentially a full American Airlines like that? You still haven't seen that in 12 months. Like, did you notice for you, did you have to change again? Like, you haven't maybe had to shout as much the last year. Is there something different about it?
Yeah, I mean, definitely the energy, everything that comes with playing in front of fans. It's just, and it's, I can't think of any, it's all positive. Right. We've talked about, I guess, the coach, the players being able to hear coaches and hear, right. They're probably happy to have us drowned out. And I think, fortunately there has been a progression where, I don't know, maybe some other teams in playoffs, it's gone from 0 to almost full. But, I think the progression that we've played on the road in front of, whether it be 3 or 5 or 7,000 and now 9,000 and, whatever it's going to be on Thursday. I think there's I think it's helped us adjust and just kind of fall back into a comfort zone of playing in front of people and all the energy and crowd that comes with it.
And finally on that end, Mike, as the league has sort of loosened some things, obviously depending on who does what, vaccine wise, there have been instances I'm sure you've seen with other playoff teams of either fines or coaches or players have been asked about protocols. Was there a reminder at all for you and your staff to your guys about, okay, maybe things are being relaxed for us, but there's still this bigger picture and goal? There's still some penalties that could be incurred. Have you had to have that talk at all, a reminder? I mean,
it's kind of a constant conversation. It's just kind of a thing that has become part of just, the norm. And so, we are kind of, I think, just continually having that conversation, continually just making sure we understand big picture. We understand how important, all the protocols, all the safety things are for us, for our team, for just everybody's health and safety. And obviously get to playoff times and, the competitive side of it becomes more important also.
Tim Bontemps.
Hey, bud. I know it's been a lot of, or it's been a topic of discussion this year. You guys have tried to have a, kind of a second option at times. Brooke was talking earlier about how that's been a focus for you guys going back to the start of training camp. You said that was something you guys wanted to really focus on this year, was having a plan B that was just as good as your plan A. And I was curious, is in trying to develop that throughout the season, have you changed anything from what you've done in the past in order to get ready for the playoffs, or has it been more of the same stuff you've done in the past from that standpoint?
I mean, I think hopefully every team and coach is evolving and growing, and hopefully, that's no different with us, and we're better and prepared, and hopefully more diversified is one of the words we've used. Just have different ways to attack and be more diversified defensively. The talent, the roster that John's put together, I think it starts with having good players, and then hopefully putting them in good positions to be good defensively, to be good offensively, and but I think every team goes through that, every coach, and some better than others, and some rosters are better prepared for it. And I just think John's put together a great roster for us.
And kind of along those lines, over the past 6 or 8 weeks, Brooks' shot profile has changed a lot. He's gotten a lot closer to the rim. He's been kind of focusing on that more. Is that part of that diversification to try to give you guys a different way to attack when you get into situations like, you're in against a team like Miami in the playoffs?
Yeah, no, I think, and Brooks, done some of it just on his own. There's been kind of he's naturally evolved and grown, and I think understand, ways that, he can impact and have, other options. And so it's been kind of, some of it's organic, some of it's, I think good players figure out things. And, but yeah, there's certainly what Brook has done to, I just add to the ways that he can impact winning. I think is a significant part of our growth.
And just one other thing. Last week, Giannis kind of talked about the fact that his mental focus in terms of trying to stay level all the time is something he's really focused on this year. And I know it's only been a couple of playoff games, but have you noticed any change in your overall group's mindset that way, in terms of not allowing, not kind of keeping themselves more level and not kind of fluctuating from game to game with what happens as you guys have gone through the year?
Yeah, I think Giannis is in a good place mentally. I think the focus, the attention to detail, and he sets the tone. Chris is similar. I think they're both leading us, and so the group takes on a little bit of your leader's personality. You're both Chris and Giannis, and you need that in the playoffs. There's going to be things that don't go your way. There's going to be adversity, and so you got to be able to handle all that and respond in the right way, and respond to, if and when things are good. You can't relax, and I don't think Giannis is in a good mindset right now.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, bud.